Curiosity, it's what drives us to seek answers, to push boundaries, to explore the unknown. But what happens when it turns dark? When the need to understand becomes a force we can't control? On May 26, 2023, in Busan, South Korea, one such question would cost an innocent life. Jian, an English tutor, opened her door to a new student. Within hours, she'd be dead. The killer's motive? Not money, not revenge, just the chilling need to know. What does murder feel like? 23-year-old Jung Yoo-jung didn't commit a crime of passion. She conducted an experiment. And what was found would leave the world in shock. Behind every shocking crime lies a backstory that makes it all the more perplexing. Jung Yoo-jung wasn't someone who fit the typical profile of a violent offender. Abandoned by both parents before age 6 and raised by her grandfather, she had known loneliness from her earliest years. Yet nothing in her past fully explained what came next. It all began quietly in early 2023, an increasing fixation on true crime content that went far beyond casual interest. While most viewers watch such shows for entertainment, Jung studied them with unsettling intensity. Her internet history revealed a mind-crossing dangerous lines, searches evolving from general crime facts to chillingly specific queries about murder methods and evidence disposal. How long does DNA evidence last? Most effective knife for ways to dispose of. The progression showed a mind moving from theoretical interest to practical planning. Most alarming was her systematic approach to target selection. Over a period of months, Jung contacted more than 50 private tutors through the educational platform, engaging each in lengthy conversations. Investigators believe this was a methodical process of victim profiling, assessing which tutors lived alone, which had predictable schedules, which residences offered the right conditions. The tutors, many of them young women like her, had no idea they were being studied by someone with sinister intentions. By late spring, May 24, 2023, Jung's preparations entered their final phase. Having identified her target, a 26-year-old English tutor known online as John, she initiated contact through the tutoring app with chilling precision. Posing as the mother of a high school student, Jung crafted a carefully constructed persona. Her messages followed a calculated pattern, first expressing admiration for the tutor's qualifications, then discussing scheduling with exacting detail, finally settling on a late afternoon session at the tutor's home, a time when neighbors would likely be at work, when streets would be quieter. The booking for May 26th wasn't left to chance. Jung specifically requested an in-person session rather than online, emphasized it would be her daughter's first lesson, and even asked detailed questions about the apartment layout under the guise of ensuring accessibility. Every exchange served dual purposes, establishing credibility while gathering tactical information. Little did the unsuspecting tutor know that the polite, concerned parent she was communicating with was simultaneously preparing the tools that would end her life. But how exactly did Jung transition from digital planning to physical violence? The answer reveals just how far preparation had progressed. May 26, 2023. The doorbell rang at precisely 4:28 p.m. The young English tutor smoothed her clothes as she moved to answer, expecting to greet another bright-eyed student. Instead, she found Jung Yoo-jung standing at her threshold. The perfect picture of a schoolgirl in her crisp uniform, her expression calm, her hands folded politely in front of her. The uniform's navy blue pleats still showed creases from recent packaging. Jung had ordered it special for this day. What happened next unfolded with methodical horror. Once inside, Jung's demeanor shifted. The knife came out, not in a frenzied lunge, but with chilling purpose. The first stab landed at 4:36 p.m., then another, and another. By the time the attack ended nearly an hour later, the small apartment walls bore witness to over 110 separate wounds. Some deep and lethal, others curiously precise, like the deliberate punctures through both palms. Investigators would later note these weren't the marks of panic violence, but of someone conducting a grim experiment in mortality. After the murder, Jung returned to her home to retrieve a large black suitcase and purchase cleaning supplies, including garbage bags and bleach. As midnight approached, Jung reappeared at the apartment building, this time wheeling the sturdy black suitcase behind her. The night security cameras captured her movements in grayscale clarity, the efficient trips to the bathroom where dismemberment occurred, the measured walks to the trash area with bundled cleaning supplies. She worked without hurry, pausing occasionally to check her phone. At one point, footage shows her stopping to adjust her hair in the hallway mirror, an ordinary gesture made grim by the dark stains on her sleeves. May the 27th. Dawn hadn't yet touched the Yangsan Bridge when taxi driver Kim Seong-ho picked up his final fare of the night. The young woman with the oversized suitcase hired his Hyundai Sonata taxi, giving directions to a remote area near the Nakdong River in Yangsan, about 15 kilometers north of Busan. During the 25-minute ride, Kim noticed several alarming details. She seemed nervous and was visibly shaking, but it was the smell that unsettled him, that coppery tang that clung to the air no matter how he rolled down the windows. As they crossed the Nakdong River, droplets of blood in the suitcase handle rolled from the suitcase latch onto his light gray seat upholstery. In that moment, Kim knew. After dropping Jung off near a wooded area at 3:32 a.m., Kim immediately contacted Busan's SEO police station. By sunrise, police divers would be pulling evidence from the riverbank bushes where Jung had abandoned her cargo. The suitcase's contents told a partial story, a torso, limbs carefully wrapped, but the full horror lay in what wasn't there. The missing pieces, the meticulous planning, the clinical detachment that allowed Jung to stab a stranger 110 times, then return hours later to very carefully disassemble the evidence. But the most disturbing revelation? This was never a crime of passion. Every cut, every calculated move pointed to something far more unsettling. Someone treating murder as a step-by-step process to be studied, executed, and refined. And as investigators would soon learn, Jung had left behind something even more revealing than physical evidence. The police interrogation room held an eerie calm when Jung Yoo-jung first sat across from detectives on May 27. Her hands rested quietly on the table, still bearing faint traces of bleach under the nails. At first, she spun a simple story. She claimed she had merely discovered the body, a tragic scene she stumbled upon while visiting for her tutoring session. But the timeline didn't add up. Security footage showed her entering the apartment building at 4:28 p.m. The taxi receipt placed her at the river at 3:32 a.m., nearly 12 unaccounted hours. By the second interrogation, her story shifted. Now it was a sudden argument, a crime of passion sparked by a tutoring dispute. But investigators already had the apartment's blood spatter analysis. The patterns told of a prolonged, methodical attack, not a momentary loss of control. The damning evidence mounted: her internet search history, the purchased uniform, the multiple knives bought weeks in advance. Then in early June came the chilling confession that made seasoned detectives pause. There had been no argument, no provocation. Jung simply wanted to know what killing felt like. The years of consuming true crime content had created an insatiable curiosity, not about solving murders, but about committing one. She spoke calmly about selecting her victim, about the research she'd conducted, about the strange detachment she felt during the act itself. The most unsettling part? How rationally she could discuss something so monstrous. July 14, 2023. The Busan District Court became a theater of contrast during Jung's trial that summer. Her defense attorneys painted a picture of a broken woman, abandoned by parents, failed by the system, suffering from hallucinations and mental disorders. They presented psychological evaluations, showing her higher than average score on the psychopathy checklist revised, though the exact number remained sealed. But prosecutors dismantled this narrative piece by piece. They displayed the spreadsheets Jung had made comparing potential victims. They read aloud her internet searches dating back months. They played security footage showing her calm, deliberate movements before and after the murder. This wasn't psychosis. This was calculation, the judge agreed. Finally, on November 24, 2023, the gavel fell on one of South Korea's most disturbing cases in recent memory. Life imprisonment plus 30 years of electronic monitoring. No death penalty, though prosecutors had pushed for it. South Korea hasn't executed anyone since 1997. As guards led Jung away, observers noted her expression remained as unreadable as it had been throughout the trial. No tears or anger, just the same quiet detachment she'd shown while describing how she took a life and how easily she might do it again given the chance. Jung Yoo-jung's chilling case leaves us with one haunting question: how does a curious mind cross into darkness? From fascination to violence, her journey reveals the terrifying potential of obsession unchecked. While most of us will never approach that line, her story forces us to examine the shadows in human psychology. Where do you draw the line between curiosity and danger? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into psychology's most unsettling mysteries. Until next time, this was Mind Unfolded.